Bill Belichick was not a great football player, but he's an excellent coach, right? To make that connection, to see, correct, to figure out what is the next step in this progression so you can one day get this ring muscle up. And that's the same thing I have to do with these high-level athletes on this whole entire week.
Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the best hour of your day.
We're here with Matt Torres. Matt, you're one of the rare people that have made a living coaching CrossFit, and we want to talk all about it. I'm excited. You were actually on the podcast way back in the day.
Yeah.
Way back, like first 100 episodes at
was
the
it
box.
First 100?
Yeah, it was him and Dario at North Naples CrossFit. Yep. But I always tell everybody, you are my story of this dude, the old box, the old North Naples. I'd walk in, he would just be at this, like, he had benches. They were the cheap ones too. They're like metal. They're like $5 from Target. At a table, eyes bleeding, programming for people.
That sounds aggressive.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Do your eyes still bleed when you program?
No, they're just permanent now.
Permanently bloodshot.
Actually, we got on a call the other day. He was wearing glasses. I was like, do you need those now? But it's really commendable because most people only see where you're at now. Mm-hmm. And there was, how many years do you think you were in the grind of programming? You had the box and you were coaching, and you're a great coach. But how many years were you just in that grind of programming for no names like myself?
Probably 2.5 years, 3 years almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, programming for one person for a week would probably take me 2 hours. So I could only handle 3 people,
Yeah.
And he was one, my sister was another, and then Coach Dom actually was the third one.
Matt, I hate to say it,
at what point
you don't have a good track record.
At what point did you figure out that programming for him was a complete waste of time? You're like, there's nothing that's going to make this dude fit.
I was going to make the games, dude.
I coached a lot of Masters athletes. My first CrossFit Games, I had, 4 teenagers and then 8 Masters athletes across a lot of divisions. And one thing at that point in time, it's probably changed a little bit, is it's hard to convince a Masters athlete to take 3 steps back.
Right.
They're
like, I got limited time. I'm only going to be in this division so long.
And so what I try to tell them now I don't do a lot of Masters athletes, is your goal is to get to the starting line. Because a lot of them will just get injured.
Right.
So if we can just stop that and get to our starting line, then you'll have a great opportunity. But to answer your question, it was 3 years of trying to figure it out. Because once you understand, like anything, if you get your level 1, you're not an expert at coaching yet. But you need so many hours, and you need to fall on your face a lot. And I mean, now I could probably do 10 athletes in 2 hours for an entire week.
So let's go back real quick. When did you start CrossFit?
2010.
And then how long after you started did you start kind of dabbling in coaching / programming?
So it was actually like this. I opened up the box in 2013 with my business partner back then. And we both loved it because we were both athletes, and we liked competing. And so at that time, there was a couple companies out there that would encourage people to get a remote coach to try to pursue as a sport.
Right.
And so in that process of finding a coach, I wanted to know why. Why am I not doing just Metcons? Why am I not doing CrossFit all the time? Why am I doing like interval work? And why do I have to rest? Mm-hmm. And just from that basic like understanding of, so I'm not dying for no reason. That's what got me into being like, okay, this seems pretty easy. Like, I think I could do this as well. And that all came in like 3 years, from 2013 when I got the box to, 2016-ish when I was like, I think I'm pretty good at this. Or I can at least like pick up the, the knowledge and use it pretty quickly.
What were some of the, so when you started in the early days, because I'm trying to think back to like the early, because I wrote programming at my gym for like maybe 5 years straight, like way back. This is like 2009 to maybe like 2014, 15. And I specifically remember, like, I used to study a couple of different, I used to be on .com, like, religiously, Pat Sherwood has always been somebody that I've looked at, just like very, very elegant, simple programming. And then I was looking at New England and a couple other ones. And I always like dissecting, like, what are they doing? Why? Like, what's the pattern here that they're doing? And try to put them together. But, like, what was the process like for you?
Yeah. In the early days, it was like that a lot.
Yeah.
Because what I knew was, CompTrain had Katrin, and she was winning.
Yep.
And, like, one or two other athletes that were doing really, really well. And so to me, I'm like, okay, let me see what they're doing here. And then let me see Invictus was another one.
Yeah, yep.
And I wanted to see if there was like some sort of trend that they were doing. Because I wasn't completely sold on what I did at my affiliate for 1 hour can make someone, get them to semifinal or, whatever it was, regionals at that time. Mm-hmm. So I had to try to find patterns and try to figure things out on the fly and honestly like test on people that were willing to
test on the best.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I got up to 185 pounds snatch.
Everything we give this guy, nothing works. It's just there's no output on this.
You hear that? A double body weight snatch.
Double body weight.
Oh, so 145. You snatch 145. Yeah.
I was 1,000% my fittest there.
Yeah.
And then there was a cap. When I post about people doing one workout a day, inevitably someone's like, a failed competitor. And I was like, I had no...
Hold on. Double body weight snatch. What did you snatch?
No, I hit one. He was joking.
I was like, no. I was like, there's no fucking way you double body weight snatch.
I hit 185 once ever.
I've seen your overhead position. It's not good. Yeah.
But people always like, oh, sounds like a disgruntled former competitor. I was like, I was never that good. So, it was fun to watch him grow while you're learning as well. Speak on this for a second. I mean, you coach the best of the best. How many games athletes do you have this week?
I'm coaching 2 personally, Dallin Pepper and James Sprague, and then Coach L has Danielle.
So you have 3 people representing Brute here. What do you say to the people that don't understand the point of you don't need to be doing all of this to be the fittest you can be?
100%. So it's tough because what we grew up on was watching Rich and watching, these athletes do so much. And it was just ingrained in us. And we really didn't understand CrossFit as a competitive sport.
Everybody that was just experimenting. Everybody was experimenting.
More, right? Like more volume is better.
So that's what it was. It was like more volume is better. One thing that that I try to, spread this word to my athletes. And what they love is they love to see other athletes doing the opposite. Is if I need them to be, given, let's say, an output of 90% intensity, we know that that can only last for about 2 minutes, maybe.
On the high end.
All right, you know what I mean? So so what we need to do is this. You can probably do a 3-minute complete rest, 3-minute complete rest, 3-minute, right? So you got 12 total minutes, including rest, at 90%. Or you could do a 12-minute AMRAP, and then 150 GHD sit-ups. And then another thing, by the time you finish a 12-minute AMRAP, you're no longer working at 90%. And you weren't even doing it for the 12-minute AMRAP, by the way. Right?
The first 3 minutes, maybe.
So what you're doing is you're training to go slow, right? So for everyone that's like volume, I get it. You feel great. You probably can do something else, probably at a slower movement capacity. It's extremely, extremely difficult to tell people and convince the people. Right? And so when I go into gyms, local gyms, and I see them doing, this programming from this company, and we'll go in there and coach like a competitor's class, and the owner will be like, so what's next? I'm like, they're dead. Look at them. They're laying flat on their face.
That guy's literally not living here ever.
Food,
that guy's hands are bleeding. He can't even touch anything for 2 weeks.
A nap.
And he's like, but they usually do 3 workouts on a Saturday. I'm like, we did strength. We did strength, and we did a workout right after. So I go up to Dallin. I'm like, hey, would you be willing to put them through like a zone 2 bike and like ski stuff? He's like, yeah, sure. He's like, all right, guys, peel yourselves on the ground. Come on, get up. And it's like they're just like looking at me like ghost on the floor. And I think to myself, this guy was gonna have them do another workout.
Yeah. Probably heavy, probably fast, but just like, and then you're ingraining bad movement, you're ingraining like pacing that's way off. It's interesting you bring that up. And so this used to happen, I still live in a pretty heavily populated military town, and I've trained, a decent number of guys to go through selection programs and all services. And they'll show up, And I'm like, all right, what are you doing? And they're like, I'm running, I'm doing all this. I'm like, hey, how far are you running? How long are you running? How many miles? All those things. And CrossFit's very similar, which is like you need an underlying base to handle volume. But then if you always train at that pace, now you have a real problem. And it was the same thing for guys that were running. And they'd be like, I'm running 10 miles. I'm like, how fast are you running? I'm like, I'm running 10 minutes. And I'm like, we have to run the 4 mile in 28 minutes, which you have to run 7 minutes. And I was like, so we're going to cut your mileage back by 80%. We're going to do 200s, 400s, 800s, and then we're going to add volume to those. And then magically, they stop getting injured. Their times drop dramatically. And then you teach them how to pace, because in some of those programs, you have to run a 3 mile or something like that with no timing device. Yeah. So I would always coach them like, hey, when you step off, dude, I need you to know exactly how fast you're running. So you don't chase that rabbit in front of you that you have no business chasing. And you need to know those things. But the only thing you do is like, hey, I have to rein you back. Yeah. And sometimes it would take weeks, if not months, for them to start to grasp it. Like, oh, I feel better. This is working now.
That's spot on, though. Like you hit the nail on the head, 100%. What's scary is this, is there are still athletes here competing this weekend, individual athletes and probably team as well, that are doing what way too much volume, way too many things.
10-year obsolete training.
But they're still up here doing it. So it's like they're still spreading that it's okay to be doing that.
When you see something like that, does your brain go to like, because their argument's going to be like, look, it's working, I'm here. But is your argument, could you be better?
Yes. So.
Or could you feel better?
I would like to see where they finish off the weekend, and it is the work that they're putting in on the daily, because I know they're working hard. I know that they're going through,
entry, man.
I get it, right? But I'm telling you guys, like, on Monday we were here, we saw athletes hitting, like, 3 sessions. And just, like...
These teams over here, I was like, are they competing?
They've not stopped. We've been here for an hour.
But I was just like, how are they going to compete after this? Yeah.
It's crazy.
I was like, I'd be like, I'm taking a week off. They're like, I'm going into the games. It's pretty insane.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So speaking of that, right? So these guys are in here doing this, like,
and not all of these are team members.
This is going to air way after the games, but like, if I was going to take a guess for your athletes, like today, like they might be doing some mobility, maybe some zone 2 stuff. If they were going to do something that was like Metcon, it'd be very short. Mm-hmm. Am I even close to being on the nose here?
Mobility. Yeah. Mobility. They might get on a bike just to get some easy blood flow.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, they won't. Yesterday was the last day they touched intensity, and it was in like 20-second bouts.
Right. So spot on with that. Meaning like all they're doing, and I don't mean maybe these people aren't competing, but there's nothing gained in this training session to having back here. And again, like all these people are great. Don't ever leave the CrossFit community, all these people. But from a competitive standpoint, that'd be like showing up to the wrestling match, and right before the wrestling match, you're like, let's go.
Well, they say the same thing about fighters. It's like you're not improving your skill or anything. You're just trying to stay injury-free.
Right. There's nothing to gain a week out.
How far out
is the only thing you can do is hurt.
Where's the time where
I would say like 2 weeks is when you want to start a official like deload.
Tapering.
So that like even in that deload tapering, you can add intensity in there 2 weeks out.
Just
but then
reels.
Because the week before the games, we typically have like 3 events that we know. So we're just doing a little like interval work them, making sure that they have like a feel, make sure that they know their reps, make sure they know like the heart rate they need to be working at, the pacing, all that. But in here, you're just touching up on things.
Yeah.
Your weightlifting's not going any higher than 65%. If you're doing a sprint piece, it's just to feel that intensity for, like I mentioned, like 20 seconds, and then calm it down, big rest, and then repeat. Now I'm not saying like my way is the right way, but I know that my way works for the athletes that I'm coaching.
But I would argue it's not even your way. Like if you look across modalities in sports, like that's how it's done. If you've watched somebody go into a game day or fight day or like whatever it is, like they're not doing wild shit going into the Super Bowl. It's like walkthroughs. They're like no sprained ankles, do not tackle anybody. They're like no intensity
even
here.
Different than CrossFit. They know exactly what they're going to be doing.
Correct.
Right? Where CrossFit, like, we don't even know. So you have 3.
I was interviewing a team earlier. I was like, what's the event? They're like, we don't know. I was like, oh shit, you guys don't know anything? I was like, oh, okay.
How many do you know at this point? By the way,
like
what is today? Wednesday?
Right?
Wednesday, and you start tomorrow?
So we know
Chad?
Yeah, okay.
We got run, swim. We know Amanda 45.
Chad.
We know Chad, and we know 1,600-meter run with a sprint. And then we know the chipper. It's like a ski and rope climb.
So you know about probably conservatively 30%-ish of the events. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have 3 athletes here.
Yep.
From an athlete perspective, are athletes making a full-time living these days doing CrossFit?
Yeah, like from an athlete perspective, the guys and the girls are completely different. In this sport,
girls make more,
women make more money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sponsors probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And like the sponsorship money, it's a short well. So if one,
there's only so many people in the space.
Yeah, let's say like Tier has like 10 big athletes, they can't just continue to give out money to these other athletes.
Right.
So this is basically how it works in this sport. You can be a female if your following is strong and not make it to the CrossFit Games officially and make a good living. It's not the same as a male. You have to show that you can win. You have to show that you have promise.
They're investing for the men.
So, for example,
you have to almost be a podium finisher,
yes,
almost exclusively.
Yeah, like you need a really great management company. For example, Lab is a great management company. Cooper and Jason they run that thing very well. I think O'Keefe is part of that group as well. A lot of companies took a chance on Dallin when he was 19 years old. He hadn't even proved himself. And they're not. It doesn't matter what you do as a team, right? They took a chance, and it helped him. It helped him move to Naples. It helped him be secure. Mm-hmm. And so at 19 years old, he was making, pretty good living. Now he has to continue to show. He has to continue to show.
So you're like 1 year away from not being able to afford to compete full time.
Dude, a lot of these athletes, it's like they'll be like this is my contract year. We're not talking about millions of dollars, right? They don't have like
tens of thousands,
money like saved up in the bank, because a contract year for them is like, okay, I'm talking like maybe hundreds potentially, but it's extremely important because what you do at the CrossFit Games, you're gonna wait. You're not gonna sign a contract until you perform at the CrossFit Games.
Right.
Because Dallin was 19th his rookie year, and he was like, Matt, I need to be like top 7. He comes out, finishes 5th last year, and he's like on cloud 9, right? Because he already knows that the next year of contract is like, now he has leverage.
But now this year he's got to perform again.
Now he's got to perforn better.
So that'll dry up. Next year it will.
So kind of yes and no, because like I would say like secure for 3. So
you get top 5, you get like 3 years of like, they're not going to just they still believe in me.
Yeah.
Well, he also has a long track record, right? So he has sustained performance from a team all the way into individuals. So
and every management company is going to handle the contracts a little bit different. I know there's other companies that'll be like, give me more money up front for a shorter contract. Let me get a longer contract and build a little bit more security. So it really all depends on what company that you're using. But yeah, every single year is there's more pressure than last year. Like these athletes feel pressure, when they're going quarterfinals to semifinals. Semifinals, they got to be like top 20. And the next step is just more pressure, right? Because now you have your audience behind you. You have your family behind you. Everyone that you grew up with. Everyone that was like, talking shit the whole time in your whole entire life, they're still pushing on you. And so now you got to prove, not just to like, no, you don't need to prove anything to anybody. I get that.
Yeah.
But internally, it's hard to turn that that mic
and
off.
You want to get paid.
And you want to get paid.
So Dallin has made. This is all he does. He's married now with you guys in Jacksonville.
Yep.
But every year he's just nervous about the next year, and this goes to the point about the people that are doing too much. It's like you're talking about literally the best of the best. Nervous about making a living, and that's why we encourage, like, hey, you doing 3 workouts a day has no value to your life.
I want to pancake this conversation real quick. So
what does that mean?
Meaning like we're going to flip it over and talk about the other side, right?
Okay.
So because we're talking about this, and I believe
I get it.
You got it. You follow me here? Cool. There you go.
Follow?
You see how much longer it takes to catch on?
burger.
Yeah.
But
Either way, obviously you've created a career for yourself in the coaching world. In the coaching world, I believe that everything that we're saying with regard to training and volume is the exact opposite, which is like there is no amount of time that is too much to learn, to study, to write the programs.
That's a good point.
And I'd be interesting, as an affiliate owner, as what you do now, having worn both those hats, like, where do you think is the best opportunity for a coach to come and be like, hey, I'm going to start to kind of carve out a niche here, and like, this is what I'm going to do for a living? Because it's hard.
Well, you don't know this about Matt. Both him and Dario, before they had the box, they were like valets. They had a lot of like.
This is my point.
jobs.
This is exactly my point.
Yeah.
Right? This is, and as
he
are
was
a
an
lot
escort in Naples for quite some time.
I knew you looked familiar.
It's good pay. It's good pay in Naples. You get
it wouldn't be a difficult task to accomplish.
I
in
want
Naples,
my
honestly.
money back, by the way.
No, but that was what was cool. Like when I moved down there, they already owned the box, but knowing how hard they worked to get there.
Right.
I think remote coaching in some capacity, whether it's nutrition, whether it's PT, whether it's competitive, whether it's, you know, an athlete that may not have the time to do personal training in your gym, but they have like access to equipment at their house. They need to, the people that you're around need to know that you are that person that has the ability to do that for them, because they're probably out reading, seeking, Googling, like, who has this already, and they're probably doing it on their own already, so why not let it be you? And so with this, like, what I try to do with him and what I try to do with my sister and Coach Dom was say, like, hey, proof is in the pudding. Look at what's going on here. Because once, like, you know, we'll keep talking about Dallin, but James was the same way. James Sprague came on because Dallin Pepper came on. Tudor Magda came on because James Sprague and Dallin Pepper was on. Emma came on because her management company also manages Dallin. So there's this trickle-down effect. And when you have teams like that, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it was 4 years in the making.
Right. Overnight success.
My DMs were just like, all these teenagers were like, I want to be like these people. I want to be like these, all of the teams. So it was like, okay, you know, so it was this constant, like, every week, mom or dad and a teenage, and I'm having like a one-on-one, and I out of nowhere, I'm at like 50 athletes. Right, and they're paying, you know, roughly $275, $300 a month, and still running a gym.
Right,
and being able to buy another gym in the process because I have this available to me. And you know, to your point, one of the biggest takeaways as a gym owner, and what I still do now, is research and development. Like, you guys are key, right? If a gym owner feels like they're stuck in a rut and they can't quite figure it out, they need to read your content. They need to listen to your content. They need to speak with you. They need to have a meeting with you guys. That's what we did constantly. And then even now today, you know, we'll keep using Dallin as an example. Last year, Dallin got 5th place, which is amazing. What people don't know is that Dallin got like 28th on the 5K run. He got like another like 25th placing on Helena. The commonality between those two is running.
Right.
He wasn't a good runner. So I was like, you know what? Trust in me, I'm going to figure this out. Got a VO2 analyzer, bought like 3 running books, spoke with track coaches constantly to figure it out. What Dallin did in that process is what separates him from other athletes. He fell in love with learning how to run better. His Instagram feed is all running. His YouTube subscriptions are all about running. He's always talking about running. We just watched the 1500 from
the Olympics.
The USA that took one.
He came back from the back of the pack, right? Dude. Like in the last 100 meters, it was an Olympic record. It was 3:27.
Oh, 3:27.
3:27.
That's a little less than a mile.
It's 100. It's 100 meters less than a mile.
Yeah. They'll still run.
I'll tell you split time, everybody. That is on average a 51-second split 400 meter. To run that. 4 times.
And if you haven't seen it, watch the race. It's crazy.
I saw you posted. You watched the 10K.
Yeah.
The other
it's
day.
like I grew up running track as well, and every time a 10K came out, I'm like, nope, shut it off. But I'm telling you, because of this year, because of like going like the banter between Dallin and I, it's like, oh, this person's running a 10K. Like, we know all the 10K runners all of a sudden.
What's one or two metrics you have for him
for running
that he improved on?
So before the CrossFit Games, last year, we knew that they were going to test a 5K run. So we ran a 5K like 2 weeks before, and he had a 21:20.
Just still like an incredibly good 5K.
I want to say it was like...
It's good, it's like, not great.
Like it's not winning even your local 5K, but it's still for a CrossFitter.
Like a 6:50 pace. So after the CrossFit Games, I was like, We're going to get you at a sub 19 5K.
That's where I would be.
Over 2 minutes off is 5K.
By February. So this is September. I'm like, we're going to get this to February. So we started doing all of our testing. I had to get his VO2 max. I had to understand like what his current 1 mile was, what his actual 5K was currently coming back from like a little bit of rest. Fast forward to February. We're on this grungy track in Jacksonville, like in the middle of like the hood, like, and there's like bird shit everywhere, right? It's just like, it's not good. He runs a 19:11, and he finishes, and he's like, I could have had that 19. But I mean, if you don't know what you don't know, it's like the first time you row a 2K, you don't know what you're about to get.
Right.
The second time, you understand all your paces, and you're like, this is gonna hurt a lot worse. The third time,
because you know.
The third time, you're just shitting your pants. You're like, I don't even want to step on this route. I already know what I'm about to go through to get it.
How many miles between those two?
How many did he put in the ground?
Yeah.
It was probably like, I would say like anywhere between 10 and maybe 12 a week.
So he's putting in some heavy mileage for a CrossFit.
Yeah. Mostly in what format, though?
It was like, so what you're describing was like a VO2 max type of work. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about like 200s, 400s, 600s, sometimes 800s. That was like the bread and butter. On another day, we would do marathon and easy running, and that was on trail. So we have his marathon pace, we have his easy pace, and we just go out and run for like 30 minutes. And then on another day, Sunday, he's just walking with a ruck.
Yeah.
We're not even testing it. We're just walk, please. Just don't turn this into a workout.
That's like his rest day, essentially?
Yes, yeah.
You're essentially with the ruck, you're like, that's body tempering for running, essentially, is what you're kind of training.
Yeah,
there.
You want to make sure that your joints are healthy. You want to make sure your tendons can take the amount of grounding and pounding that you're doing on your tough days.
But what you just outlined is, I don't see people train that enough, right? So like I did a ton of studying, just kind of like you did years and years ago, for training for different things. And like that tends to be, for most people, like a very, very good recipe, which is like one really high pace, one kind of like longer, slower pace, and then maybe like a very, very low interval, like walk, ruck, something pace. You can sustain that for a very long period of time, and you will get better, like, for a very long period of time. Like, you will see week-to-week progress with that recipe in most instances.
And that's just a classic progression.
Right.
That's just like, all right, we're building up, we're resting, we're bringing it back up, we're resting. Now, this work was extremely specific to 5K development.
Right.
Going into the CrossFit Games. So you're working
off of that 5K time and then reversing it.
So going into the CrossFit Games, we were like, okay, we're really good. We know we can run a sub 19 5K. I think we're good there. So we're like, let's get this 1 mile down. We're taking educated guess, by the way. Like, it's just him and I were like, what else are we going to run? Like, what else could they potentially test? I don't think they're going to do a 5K again. They just did it last year. So we're like, let's start to work improving your 1 mile time. So then we actually like took a step back, and then the distances were shorter. Mm-hmm. The sets were a little bit higher. The paces were much faster. So he's holding like 545s, 605s, that kind of range. It's really disgusting type work. And then what do you know? We got a 1600 tester coming out. So it's like, now the question becomes, how many of these athletes are going to get a sub 5 minute? And that's going to be the question on the day that they do the 1600 with the sprints, is how many of them will get that sub 5?
How many do you think?
I think like 7.
I was going to say on the high end 10, but I would be willing to bet 5 for sure.
Yeah. But now it's the difference between 25th place on this and maybe 10th.
Yes. Right? And that's what we need to do. All right, so if we go back last year, what he did on the 2 runs, let's say he got like 15 and 15.
What's that do to his...
He's sitting in 3rd.
Right. And a podium makes a huge difference.
Exactly.
PushPress Core and Grow have this synergy when they work together that makes my life much easier as a business owner.
PushPress simplifies and makes our life easier to where we don't have to worry about anything.
The product I was using before was slow, was always down when I needed it the most. And now I have this wonderful system that I rely on heavily to communicate with my leads, with my members, and I'm seeing such benefit, and it's in terms of reducing my manual workload.
I shopped different programs, and when I landed on PushPress, I felt like they were for me. And I loved the help behind the scenes at PushPress. Everyone I talked to is a gym owner themselves.
What appealed to me from the beginning was they actually cared about my business. That like these are real people who like I can communicate with, and like who are now like Facebook friends of mine or whatever. Like follow me on Instagram. We send little stupid things back and forth to each other.
PushPress has been so helpful. They've truly mentored me on top of just being a software program.
PushPress for us has been so user-friendly, and the communication that I can get through their contact us so fast and efficiently has helped me in regards to finding and sorting out our leads, our scheduling.
Their products, being able to layer them on as you need them is really important too, because maybe a new gym owner isn't ready for PushPress Grow and how powerful it is. Maybe they just need the billing like I did, and then a year from now they're ready to put something else in there.
It's a no-brainer. I don't know what the hell are you waiting for? Tell me what problems you're having, and I'll just tell you how PushPress solves them.
I don't know how I would be able to do all the things that I do as a sole business owner and a mom of 3 without the support of PushPress.
Needless to say, like it all comes back to this. This year, I knew I had to be a better running coach. I put my CrossFit coach hat aside. I put my weightlifting coach hat aside, and I go, I'm going to just focus on this right here, and I got to improve for him on this. And it's the same thing for all my athletes. It's the same thing for James when it comes to strength development. I do the same thing. I have to focus on strength for him. It's the same thing for Fee when it comes to strength development, when it comes to anaerobic power development for Fee and trying to make her a stronger athlete. And all my other athletes, it's like, that's what you have to do. You have to be willing to say, I can't find the answer. If someone asks you a question, it's like, this is like the thing as a CrossFit coach. Hey, how do I lose weight? And you're not a nutrition coach. You don't know shit about losing weight. You're like, I don't know, but I will find that for you. It is so much better than being like, well, and then just speaking out of your ass.
But it takes confidence to do that, because I think back in the day, people were worried, they'll go elsewhere.
Dude, this is I was so funny so that I don't even know why I was thinking about this. I was having this thought this morning. One of the best things I ever learned at the Naval Academy is when you get there your first year, you have 5 responses that you're allowed to say because you're a piece of shit. Nobody gives a fuck about you. One of them is, sir or ma'am, I'll find out. Which is they're like, do not make shit up. If you don't know, say I don't know, and then go find out, and then come back and report on it. And I still to this day think about that. Somebody else is like, I don't know. I'll find out though. But I'm not going to make shit up, because then you're not going to trust me as an athlete, because it'll probably be wrong. I'll just literally pull it out of my ass. And more importantly, the trust that you just gained with that person is immense. The equity that you get in that singular interaction, be like, I don't know, actually. Let me go find out. And then I'll come back to you with a fully formed thought.
Yeah, I actually have a good story.
It's a life lesson he just gave you, Matt.
Did you write that down? I want to hear what you have to say. I've heard that. I've actually heard that from other Navy people, what you just mentioned too.
That and make your bed, and then pancakes.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 things you
learned. Make your bed one's bullshit, yes.
So, Dallin's rookie year, they did this sandbag.
Rookie year as a teenager, or rookie
year from individuals?
Okay.
They're doing the sandbag lift, the max lift. That,
2 or 3 years ago.
And we didn't do a lot of sandbag work, literally at all, the whole year. We didn't pick up a heavy bag. It's the heaviest was a 150, maybe a 200, and there's people were picking up 300 bags. So this strongman comes out. He's like, all right, guys, Dave is showing the bag. You may have been a judge there at the time.
We judged. I didn't judge that event.
Yeah. They bring the strongman out. He's like, this is how we're going to do it. We carry it this way. We lap it, and then we're going to shift it and put it on the shoulder. I'm like, oh, boy. I'm like, that's so much to think about. Dallin's like, all right, so what do you think? I'm like, I don't know. But I have a YouTube video, and we're both going to watch this. And it's like,
here's what I think. We should watch this right now.
And I'm like, all right, so we know that the bag needs to be the long way. And it's like, so this is what happens. So we're in the arena in Madison warming up. And Dallin's like, man, I feel really good about this. Everyone's struggling with the 250-pound bag. And he's like, I'm lapping it. I'm putting it on my shoulder. I'm feeling really good. He's like, I'm good. I'm going to relax. We go out there, he hits the 250. I'm feeling good about it, too, We get to, the 275, 300. He's starting to struggle on the 300. And out of nowhere, all the people that are struggling underneath are doing amazing. They're grabbing it. They're rolling it right up. They're not even thinking about it. I'm like, they're failing 250 in the back. How are they not doing?
They're not thinking about it.
So, needless to say, Dallin stopped, I think it was like 275. The heaviest bag was like a 370 or 350 or like something like big.
They had to put a 10 in one of them or something.
Yeah,
Right?
they had to make that one on the spot. Yeah.
And it was like, you know, we come back and we just like, we're both looking at each other like, I don't know what happened. You know, it's like we tried, but it comes back to like, I don't know. But you're going to learn with me right here. And I trust that, you know, I can cue you. You know, there's a lot of things in what we do, and as even a gym owner and a coach of an affiliate, not every coach can do a ring muscle up, you know, but you can be a great coach. You know, Bill Belichick was not a great football player, but he's an excellent coach, right? To make that connection, to see, correct, to, you know, to figure out what is the next step in this progression so you can one day get this ring muscle up. And that's the same thing I have to do with these high-level athletes on this whole entire week.
And now, most likely, if someone's like, how do I clean a sandbag? You're like, I got you.
Got this. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of what I hear you saying is because we're talking about like have carved out this career, but you've carved out this career by continuing to be a learner, right? You know, like I've heard this, what was it recently? It's like, don't be a know-it-all, be a learn-it-all. Just be somebody who's just like, hey, I'll learn it. I don't care. Like, I'm okay saying I don't know. And I think one of the biggest lessons I ever learned was like, just be okay with saying you don't know. Like, well, just generally in life, I think we should all just be okay with people just be like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know the fucking answer to that. Like, global warming, I don't fucking know. Maybe not. Like, everybody was like, I know for a fact. And I'm like, I don't know that you do.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. And as a business owner, when I started to get better, it was when I just admitted to myself, like, I don't fucking know. Let me go find out from somebody who's smarter than me, and I'll apply all the context and all that kind of stuff.
Funny enough, just yesterday you were saying you could become an expert by watching like 3 hours on YouTube.
Yeah.
And
easily.
That's what he did.
Easily.
Well, you got to get going to athlete check-in. Dallin's going to be on top, you think, this year? Is that the projection?
I'm extremely confident with his ability to be on that podium this year. The workouts currently line up very, very well for him. And what I'm more excited about is, or I would say equally, is for him to show his improvement in the areas that he had weaknesses last year at the games. You know, and it starts off fresh with the run, swim, 3.5 run with an 800-meter swim. He's a really good swimmer, so it lights our fire when you know, when we hear these CrossFit analysts describing who they expect. But here's the other thing, you know, Dallin's going to do amazing. James is going to have that same breakout year that Dallin had last year. James got 25th last year. There's no reason why. We just need to execute. If James executes, which I know he's capable of, he's been doing this since he was 15 years old. Right. This is like second nature to him. That he shouldn't be a top 12 as well. And then, like, we all know the abilities that Danielle brings to the table. Right. You know, she's a remarkable athlete. She has so many good qualities that she was born with. You know, and I believe her and Coach L have really taken advantage of program, of understanding the athlete, of like him understanding her and her understanding him, and that is like this kind of like equilibrium you need when you're back there with your athlete. Right. Is like that common ground, and so I'm really excited about these three athletes for this weekend.
That's really cool. Last question. Tons of coaches out there in the space. As somebody who, you know, who's been able to see, you know, a lot of success in the space as a coach, 1 to 2 pieces of advice that you would give to, you know, somebody who's just like, man, I really want to make this my thing, and I want to have a career.
For sure. So the first thing I would do, and this is just what I was told, and this is something that we do with Brood all the time. 1, read. 2, take in as much knowledge as you can. Watch videos. There's our company alone. We put videos out all the time of how we handle an athlete that's weak, an athlete that is not aerobic, an athlete that's dealing with, you know, some gymnastics limiters. Right. That's where it kind of begins. And then if you find that you soak in the knowledge and you just want to continue to bring it in, that's kind of your indication right there of like, okay, let me see what the next step is, which would be get with a company that has some sort of class, mentorship. A mentorship is going to be top notch. If you can find a mentorship, it doesn't matter if it's with Brute's mentorship. If you show, you know, TTT, if you show Proven, if you show Mayhem, all these companies that have remote coaching, that you have a mentorship, it's going to put you above everyone else, right? Because you need to have foundation. You can't just be like, well, this method works, and you just take a picture of your whiteboard and you're like, It's not it. Like,
see what I did?
Yeah, you have to be able to show it's like math. Show your work. Explain why.
Right.
Because then it's a lot easier to convince people that are in charge of hiring to say like, okay, I can see why you did that. And then
it's not a fluke, right? It's just like, I know how I got to this answer.
Yeah, yeah, and be willing to be critiqued, because the purpose of the critique is to be better. And so if you can have an open mind, put your defense down, take an open mind that the person that's critiquing you wants you to be better, then you will get better so much faster. And that's what the mentorships will do, is they will critique your ass off and you'll feel like absolute dog shit. But once you like pick up your feelings and then, look back at your notebook or whatever, you'll be like, all right, I can see where they're coming from, and I'm going to try that at the very least.
So you guys have that at Brute?
Yeah, we have a
mentorship. So if somebody wants to reach out about that, where do they go? They just go to your Instagram page?
Yep, they can go to our Instagram page. We actually have a current wait list right now. Our mentorship is going to be running in the end of September.
Okay.
And Coach L, he's like our human encyclopedia of fitness. He's the one that runs it.
Okay.
And he's like, the dude's amazing.
Is that the tall guy?
Yeah.
Blonde?
Yeah.
I saw him in there. Yeah.
No, it's opposite of blonde. Very dark one, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's tall.
He is tall, though. Our coaches, we look like a starting five together. Like
you don't look like CrossFitters, I'll tell you that.
No.
But I think it's important, because you and I were talking in the back room. We talk about this all the time for our company. It's like people want to be there. And it's like they don't see the 5 years of grind, because it went from no one knew who Matt was to I remember it was after I moved from Florida.
Writing programming for Jason Ackerman.
Yeah, that's a start. But I remember I would go to, once I left and I was in Colorado, because I would always reach out it was like Savon mentioned you here, or Dave Castro mentioned you here. And it was it was a slow grow, but it was all the hard work you did prior to that. So it's really cool. And I know it's only going up. Somebody, was it Castro that said you're the best?
Savon.
What'd he say? You're the best programming, best coaching?
Yeah, he said that last year, I don't know how it's going to go this year, but last year he mentioned that I was a really good programmer. I think it was just basically coming from the viewpoint of working with 5 athletes, 5 different personalities, 5 different paths to get to the same goal.
Right.
And I wouldn't put that on anyone last year. That was stressful, by no stretch.
Well, hopefully.
But very, very much appreciated.
Yeah, no, it's been great to see all the achievements you guys have had.
I appreciate that.
Well, good luck this year, dude. We're looking forward to. We almost went
turkey.
Yeah, we almost went turkey.
Matt Torres, Brute.
Yeah. Best hour.
We're
coming up with a collab. We don't know what it is yet, but
Brute hour. Hey, best of luck. This is going to come out after, so we'll see how you did, but we're rooting for you.
Thanks, man.
See you guys next time. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.